one step away. I had to find like 3 extension cords and one of those plugs that converts it from 3-prong to 2, because this naturally has 2 prongs. But guess what? I need 1 more. Check, check, check. Okay. Ah! I'm gonna let the Explorer sit and charge for about 15 to 20 minutes. I'll start it and we'll see what happens.
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes.
Idea number 2. I haven't even gotten to the part of today that today was actually about. Shout out to the weather though.
I am the one, the way you're trying.
It's hotter than wasabi out here. This is Bill, by the way. You've probably seen him before, but we'll get to that.
The engine oil is full, and it looks like oil. It doesn't look like there's any steam or water in it.
It's a good sign.
Now we need to start the engine up, and we'll check the transmission fluid.
Okay. I need to start my truck more often.
This is one that says transport. You always need to wipe the oil off and then stick it back in to get a better reading. The transmission oil is up, and it smells very clean, and there's no sign of water in it. So those are the things we're looking for.
Engine oil, transmission fluid.
And I'd like to put a voltmeter on the battery because it went dead, so we can tell if the alternator is charging sufficiently.
Okay.
Now if you turn it off, we won't be reading the alternator anymore. We'll be reading the battery voltage,
Okay.
and it should be at least 12.
All right.
13.1. I'm going to try and figure out if the radiator still has pressure in it. So I reach over and I squeeze a hose. And you couldn't squeeze that hose like that if there was high pressure in the radiator. So I'm sure it's cool enough to take the cap off.
Okay.
But I'm going to use a rag to protect my hand anyway. I can see the water level, and it's right in there, close to the top. So I'm sure that the engine hasn't used up a lot of water. I'll see if I can touch it. See? There's water there. And you can still see the remnants of a little bit of oil from the when the transmission leaked.
Yeah.
But it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be.
Today we are looking into the Explorer because I was told through a shop when I was getting some maintenance done, some issues, maybe such and such. That's beside the point. And Bill, what did you used to do?
Well, when I was in my 20s, I was a streetcar mechanic. I worked in dealerships and all assorted repair shops. But eventually, I started working more and more on race cars.
Look familiar?
And like for the past 35 years, I've worked only on race cars. Building engines, building transmissions, welding and fabricating the race car, and running the race car team at the track to fine-tune the car for the driver's wishes.
I think he has plenty of experience as to looking under the hood for me today. So you had experience with a lot of things like foreign cars,
Right?
Vetustas, etc.
Well, in streetcar land, I worked at Dodge dealerships, Chevy dealerships, Ford dealerships, and all kinds of repair shops, like to work on any kind of variety of vehicles. But once I got into racing, I worked on a Buick racing team, Ford racing team, a Chevy racing team, the Mangusta Racing Team. I worked on Dodge Vipers. I worked on turbocharged Porsches. I worked on just about a wide variety of every kind of engine and chassis. And so I don't consider myself an expert at any one thing, but I know a pretty good bit about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. You're the smartest person, man or woman, that I know. So.
Well, thanks, but you might not know a lot of people yet. First, in French, it's Trois Rivers, and that's in Quebec, near Montreal.
Yeah, that was a hell of a race. You
That
guys won.
That's a street race, and it's very difficult on the race car because you're going faster and slower and up and down the gearbox and hard on the brakes, and a lot of cars drop out of that race every year. But the last time I was ever there, we had 2 cars entered in the race, and they finished first and second. Mm-hmm. So that was a very proud day for us.
I saw that. And a lot of cars did catch on fire,
right.
For example. There was a lot of malfunctions, but you guys not only met the standards of finishing the race,
right.
You won it first and second.
Well, the most important thing is having your car be durable enough to finish the race.
Yeah.
And then it's up to the driver and the engineer cooperating on the setup in order to make your car fast enough to win the race. But it's really, really hard to finish that race, mm-hmm. even in the first place, without ever thinking about winning the race.
But I mean, you guys did.
We did, yeah.
This is the Watkins Glen International. First place, you see. How would you describe, through a title, what you've done overall? Like, how would you depict yourself? Because
Well,
I know you've done several things, and you grew every year, I'm sure.
right, and I always was looking for the next best job, and I've been very fortunate whether I elevated myself positions through the same team, or I changed teams to get a better job position. I started out actually as just a race car mechanic, turning wrenches, but I am a good welder fabricator, so I became a chassis builder, and I have built racing engines, although I never had the title of engine builder. But eventually I became a crew chief and then a team manager, and that's how I finished out my career. I was a team manager for maybe the last 10 years of my career. Mm-hmm. I won a good percentage of races, and I invented or designed or improved on a lot of state-of-the-art parts through my career. So I feel like I have done an equal amount at good management and an equal amount at good engineering, mm-hmm. to develop the race cars that I ran.
Mm-hmm. And you went to school for engineering.
Right, I am a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just throw that into the
formula.
formula.
And that was not an easy degree to get because I had to keep stopping school to work, and it took me 7 years to get a degree. Mm-hmm. But all the while, when I was not in college, I was learning things to ask about the next time I went to college. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people that go to college right after high school miss out on that because they don't understand what the professor's talking about, and they don't know the right questions to ask until you have some actual work experience, mm-hmm. and then you know better like what your aptitude is and what your opportunities are.
Yeah. So my next question is, being on a race team, what's it like? You have, for instance, a bunch of guys in a van and you're
right.
traveling up and down the road.
It's a lot of work, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
It's more work than it's worth for the money, usually. Some people make a lot of money at racing, but the top jobs are very few and far between. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more worker bees than there are king bees. Mm-hmm. But if you are competitive and you like machinery and you like working on cars and you like tuning cars to make them go faster, then you would do it for nothing, because there's no feeling in the world like seeing your car on the pole or seeing your car win the race and knowing that you had a small part to do with that.
Yeah.
It's the very best. It's the very hardest job that I ever had, but it's the very best rewarding job that I ever had if you get a chance to succeed.
Mm-hmm. And you have the big champagne bottles that
right.
are like this big.
Right.
First place, baby. First place.
Well, some racetracks give out bottles of milk. Some racetracks give out bottles of champagne,
Yeah.
like regular-sized wine bottles, but some racetracks always give the winner of the race a magnum of champagne, and that's the
Yeah.
big bottles.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I get it. Very cool.
Some of those I've saved through the years because the occasion was sentimental to me for some reason. Like, always when you win a race, that's a milestone in your career. But some racetracks, the driver you worked with or how hard you had to work to eventually win the race, all those things bring back sentimental memories, and you want to have a memento of that. Maybe it's a trophy, or maybe it's a part of the car that won the race, but all those champagne bottles I've written on the bottom when and where it was, because I want to identify that champagne bottle. That was my reward and my trophy for being the fastest car.
And there's nothing better than that feeling, was there?
Nothing.
Nothing can compare to winning a race.
Nope.
We're about to look at the Three Rivers footage, first and second place. It is so freaking exciting. It's exhilarating to watch this kind of thing. You're just immediately adrenaline filled to watch.
Looks like Ryan Till is maneuvering in a position to take a look as he goes by. That's the Tommy Bahama machine. Fuel going in. Down the fish.
Well, Butch is in, hits his marks perfectly, just a couple of laps after Boris Edmonds, struggling to get the last few drops out, and Butch is underway, momentarily stalls it. Remember, that cost him track position last time he did this, but I think he's going to beat Boris Edmonds. He's going to be very close. Butch goes up to speed, but Boris has got good exit speed on the front straightaway.
Second and a half a lap slower, so that could partly be because of traffic.
We did an extra lap or two, and Butch went really hard while he was out there, so he had a little bit lighter fuel load. Then you got to get him out ahead of Boris, and Boris is a tough competitor, so, but Butch is too. It's good. The guys did a great stop, good to get out in front.
Was the team owner?
Team owner Tom Gloy. Yep.
Which is, at what point your position in this team was?
I was a team manager. I was the crew chief of two cars, both cars. And Tom and I first met when he was a driver and I was the manager of Jack Roush Racing. And we got along so well. When he decided to be a team owner, then he wanted me to be the manager of that team. So he and I worked together for at least 12 years. And
Made a great team.
he was a great driver and a great team owner.
Hell yeah.
He decided the stretch looks like maybe the motor gave up. You're seriously going to change the shape of the body if you do that. Oh boy, this has trouble written all over it. He gets it back, refired it in gear. Pit road for penalties. Gets the top five. Stu Hayner, couple of laps down, gets sixth.
Number
Simon
one.
Gregg, Claudia Burton, Boris Shed, and Mike Davis. The rest
And
of the
number
top
two.
10 immediately. Show you the final results here from Trois-Rivières unofficially. Leitzinger, your winner.
Well, Butch, it's a tough race. What happened there in the ambulance? Well, you've heard of the cavity search. Fortunately, that's traction control of a different kind. All right. Fortunately, they didn't get the white glove. A skid marks, but that's ridiculous. This has to feel like a win to you. Oh, it's fantastic, Calvin. We've been waiting so long for this, and the Tom Gloy Racing team's done such a great job all year.
Last night a little dancer came dancing to my door.